Lily, are you there? Oh, please tell me you're there. I have to talk to you. Lily!
I'm here. What's going on? Are you okay?
I'm better than okay. He proposed!
Oh my God. Well, what did you say?
Are you kidding me? Of course I said yes.
Yes. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, Rose.
I'm getting married! I'm gonna bring him home to Mom and Dad's house to make it official sometime in the near future, so I want you to be there too. His parents are gonna be there too. I'd love for you to meet them.
Do I have to? I'm too nervous. I wouldn't want to do something weird and give them a bad impression of our family.
What are you so worried about? All you need to do is sit there and smile.
Wow. My big sister is really getting married. I'm really happy for you. But now, I'm gonna have to share you with some guy? This sucks!
Come on, Lily, we're not kids anymore. You have other friends besides me now. And don't worry, even after I get married, you're still going to be welcome to stop by our house and see me whenever you want. Did you think I was going to let a man come between me and my adorable little sister? Please.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to intrude on you guys. I wouldn't want your husband to think I was getting in the way or anything.
Oh, him? Nah, that's never going to happen. He's a really great guy, trust me. Once you meet him, you'll see that he would never think you were getting in the way.
Well, if you say so. So, tell me about the lucky guy. What's he like? What does he like to do for a living?
He's in research and development, just like me. We're in two different fields, though.
Ah, so he's a brainiac like you. You guys are quite the power couple.
Yeah, his entire family is full of brainiacs. His grandpa's a doctor, and his dad is a big-shot businessman who runs his own company.
Wow. He must have some super powerful genes. Your children are going to have 4-digit IQs. Sometimes it's hard to believe the two of us are even in the same family, though. We're nothing alike at all.
What are you talking about? People talk all the time about how much we look alike.
Well, yeah, but that's just our faces, right? That's just about the only thing we have in common. Think about back when we were in school. You were always getting straight A's, but I was lucky to get C's on a good day.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. You just didn't like to study, that's all. Not liking to study isn't the same thing as being dumb. You're just as smart as I am. Honestly, there are times when I feel like you're actually smarter than me. Like, you are way better than me at thinking on your feet. I've always been jealous of your critical thinking skills.
Okay. That's enough flattery for one day.
It's not flattery, I'm being honest. And just so you know, that's how I've described you to my fiancé. I set an extremely high bar for you with him.
Oh, geez. Thanks a lot, Rose. Now I'm really nervous about meeting him.
Well, you'd better get over that soon because he's coming and he really wants to meet you.
Well, in any case, I'm glad to hear that your fiancé is a nice guy. You've always told me how you dreamed about marrying a smart, successful man who treats you like a princess. I guess this guy fits the bill?
To a T, Lily. He's everything I could have hoped for and more. Well, there is one thing about him that I'm not so thrilled about.
Uh-oh. What's his flaw? Drinking? Gambling? Money laundering?
No, you dork. No, it's nothing to do with him personally. It's his mother. She's very, it's kind of hard to explain.
What's she like?
She's kind of what you'd call a helicopter parent. Every time he's made a major decision in his life, she has made very clear what her expectations for him are.
Wow, she sounds like she's pretty strict.
She is crazy strict. Even things like making friends is a super serious issue for her. She straight up refused to allow some of his friends into their house when he was younger. And I know I'm not his first girlfriend, and I'm fine with that, but from what I understand, every breakup he's ever had was due in no small part to his mother. It sounds like she personally drove them all away because she didn't think they deserved to be his girlfriend.
Yikes! Have you been on the receiving end of that at all? Has she done or said anything to you?
No, not yet anyway. I guess I must meet her standards or whatever. She's never come up to me and demand that I break up with him at the very least. Although, I guess I could say that she can be a little harsh in the way she speaks to me, but nothing that gives me the impression she opposes us getting married.
Well, duh. How could she be opposed to her son marrying you? You're perfect. I know you better than anyone else in the world, so you can trust me when I say that. If she's not satisfied with you, then there's not a single woman in the world who would satisfy her.
I sure hope you're right. She's gonna be my mother-in-law after all. I'd like to have a pleasant relationship with her.
Yeah, if she's as much of a helicopter parent as you say she is, then that might cause some issues later down the road. Do you think you can deal with having a mother-in-law like that?
Well, the topic hasn't come up yet, but if she wants us to move into their family's house, then that might be a problem.
If you ever need to escape from her, then you're always free to come and hide at my place. I won't let anyone hurt my favorite big sister.
I'm your only big sister, Lily. Good evening, Lily. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us earlier. It was a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, and I do apologize if I offended you by asking for your phone number.
Oh, that's quite all right. I don't mind at all. I was glad to meet you as well. Thanks for coming out all of this way. It must have been quite a long drive.
Nonsense, dear. It was nice to get out of town for a while. Now, if you don't mind terribly, could I ask you a few questions about your sister? I've heard a thing or two about her from my son, but it's only natural for him to present his fiancée in the best light possible. Additionally, there are some things that only someone's immediate family members could possibly know about them.
Oh, sure, I suppose. What was it that you wanted to know?
I greatly appreciate your cooperation. Now then, let's get down to business. I'd like to ask about your sister's school life. Tell me, what sort of a person was she back then?
She was basically the same sort of person she is right now. She was kind, flexible, and hardworking. Same as always.
Thank you. Now tell me about her attitude towards her studies. Did she ever go through any mischievous or rebellious phases? For example, did she ever skip school?
Rose? Skip school? There's no way she would ever do something like that. She never even had the typical teenager attitude either. She was always respectful to our parents. She came home exactly when she said she would. She didn't cause any trouble at all. As for her studies, she always got the best grades in the class and was well liked by her classmates and teachers.
Yes, that's the same story that my son told me. But you'll have to understand that I have a hard time believing it. After all, there's no such thing as a perfect person. She must have some sort of flaw in her somewhere. You don't actually expect me to believe that she's some sort of a superwoman, do you? She really never got in any sort of trouble?
Excuse me, ma'am, but I'm not really getting the point of you asking me these questions. It almost sounds like you're searching for a flaw in my sister. Is that what this is about?
Oh, goodness gracious, my deepest apologies if that's how I came off. I was never intending to do such a thing. As I told you before, my son only told me positive things about her, and I found it hard to believe. It made me suspicious that he may be hiding something from me.
I don't think he's hiding anything. I'd go as far as to say that Rose doesn't have anything to hide at all. I've known her for my whole life, and we've always been very close. So I can say with confidence that I have never met anyone with as pure of a heart as Rose.
I see. Well then, if you say so, then it seems that perhaps my son wasn't falling into a trap after all. That's a relief.
Did you think that Rose was hiding her true nature from him or something?
As much as it pains me to say this, my son has absolutely atrocious taste in women. All the girls he's dated before have been utterly disgraceful, brainless, classless hussies, the lot of them. They were nowhere near good enough for a man like my son. Rose, however, is another story entirely. Everything about her is top-notch, from the way she sits at the dinner table to the way she dresses. I can tell that she's received a proper upbringing. Not only that, she attended a prestigious university and went on to work at a prestigious research institute.
Well, I'm glad you recognize what a catch Rose is.
I do feel like she is a bit older than what I would like, but that's a minor detail. I can overlook her age. She's not beyond childbearing age at any rate. And I must say, it is impressive the degree of loyalty you have to your sister. You haven't withheld a single shred of praise for her in this entire conversation.
Yeah, I'm proud to call her my sister. I'm sure that you'll be proud to call her your daughter-in-law.
I just may. Thank you for answering my questions, Lily. You've been most helpful.
You're very welcome.
Lily, where are you? Tell me right now.
The bathroom? Did you need something?
That's precisely why I'm telling you to leave immediately.
What? But why? The reception is still going on.
I'm telling you to leave immediately. I will not allow you to participate in this wedding any longer.
I'm not sure you're in any position to allow anything regarding this wedding. But can I ask why you're trying to kick me out?
You dropped out of high school, didn't you? I just heard that from one of your relatives.
Well, yeah, I did. And? Your point?
My point is that your very presence in this wedding and in your family brings shame upon me and my son.
It does. I don't really see how.
How could you be so oblivious? The presence of a high school dropout among his in-laws is a stain upon my son's honor. I will not settle for anything less than perfection. Oh, what was I thinking? How could I have been so careless? I was so focused on his wife that I failed to consider the flaws of her sister.
Hold on. How is the academic history of his sister-in-law a stain on your son's honor? I mean, really? That's what you're concerned about?
It may not have a direct connection to him, but nevertheless, a stain is a stain. You should be grateful that I'm allowing this farce of a wedding to continue at all. But that is entirely contingent upon your willingness to follow my orders. Leave immediately.
Let's have a talk about my history, shall we? You're right. I dropped out of high school. I hated school, everything about it. I stopped going on the very day I turned 16. But I worked harder than everyone around me in order to get where I am now. I'm not ashamed of that decision in the slightest.
I don't doubt that. A low-class cretin like yourself must have no sense of shame whatsoever. You people have no choice but to shut off that part of your brains, because if you allowed yourself to feel shame, you wouldn't be able to go on living. Instead, you force all those around you to feel shame on your behalf.
That's completely unfair. I work incredibly hard to earn a respectable income for myself.
What do you know about a respectable income? How much could a high school dropout possibly earn? What is it that you do, anyway? You must be some sort of a janitor or cashier, right?
With that attitude, I doubt you'd believe me even if I told you.
I knew it. You're unemployed, aren't you? I won't have a high school dropout interacting with my son. You'll have a negative influence on him.
Fine. I don't see any point in continuing this conversation with you. I'm leaving. However, in exchange, you are going to have to explain to my sister that you kicked me out and why. I imagine she'll get concerned if she realizes I'm gone.
Your terms are acceptable. I needed to have a talk with her as well. She hid the fact that her sister was a high school dropout, and she'll need to answer to me for that. Rose, I know you're in the changing room right now, but we need to talk. Huh? What is it, Mom? I found out a short while ago that you've been keeping a serious matter a secret from me. I have? Don't play dumb with me, girl. You never told me that your sister was a high school dropout. Is that a problem? Of course it's a problem, but not half as much of a problem as the fact that you hid it from me. I'm sorry, I really don't see what the big deal is. I wasn't hiding it, I just didn't think it was worth bringing up. High school dropouts are ignorant, uneducated stains upon society, and the fact that one of those exists within your family is unacceptable. I will not allow my dear son to associate with such lowlifes, and as such, I drove her out of the banquet hall just a few moments ago. No way. Are you serious? That was a very bad idea, Mom. What? How so? All I did was take out the trash. That trash is my sister. And it just so happens that Lily is in a position to take out the real trash. Real trash here, meaning you. Excuse me? My sister is a high-ranking executive for a rather large company, and that company's the single largest client of your husband's company. That girl is an executive? You're lying. I don't believe you. A high school dropout couldn't possibly become any sort of executive, much less a high-ranking one. It's simple. She gets results. In the business world, credentials don't matter. Results do. Sure, she dropped out of high school, but she's been working her way up the corporate ladder one rung at a time ever since. She's currently in a position where she could single-handedly terminate her company's business relationship with your husband's. Out of all the guests here at the wedding today, she was the person who you should have been doing the most brown-nosing for. And yet you were oblivious to that truth and kicked her out of the building. This feels like the plot line for a sitcom. You're lying. No one would believe such a ridiculous story. You can believe me or not, it doesn't change the fact that you have just royally screwed up. If I were you, I would get right to work on apologizing to Lily, or else start preparing for bankruptcy. Oh, I know. Would you like to see Lily's business card? If that won't convince you, nothing will. I'll have one of the venue staff bring it over to you. Good evening, Lily. I would like to apologize for my atrocious behavior earlier. I had no idea that you were such an accomplished individual.
Rose told you about me, huh?
That's right. She showed me your business card. If you don't mind, could you please tell me where you are right now? I'd like to come over and apologize in person.
I'm sitting in the cafe across the street. I was just about to call my assistant. I've been thinking that it was time we considered our business relationship with your husband's company. After all, there are plenty of other companies we can go to. We don't particularly need your company for anything.
Please wait. If you stop dealing with our company, it would be a devastating financial blow. We would never be able to recover. I beg you, Lily, won't you please reconsider?
Did you talk to your husband?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell him exactly what sort of awful, inconsiderate insults you threw in my direction?
I showed him our entire text conversation.
And how did he feel about that?
He was furious. I've never seen him get that angry before. He told me that I could very well have just bankrupted our company and put our family in the poorhouse.
You really screwed up big time, huh? That's a funny thing about people. You never know who you might have to rely on in the future. The person you mock and belittle today might be the person pulling you out of a burning building tomorrow. It's unwise to be rude to people, whoever they are.
You're absolutely correct, Lily, and I see that now. The way I treated you was absolutely unacceptable.
To tell you the truth, I really don't feel much like having to see your face right now. So I'm hesitant on coming back to the wedding.
Isn't there any way you'd come back?
Are you trying to avoid the consequences of kicking out your husband's most important client?
My husband told me to leave the wedding if you so desired. So if you're telling me that you don't want to see me, then I'll never show my face around you again. So please, Lily, have mercy on me. Please don't end your dealings with my husband's company.
No, actually. I'd like you to stay for the rest of the reception. I'll even come back inside.
Really? Oh, thank you so much.
On one condition. You are going to have to give me a profuse, sincere apology right there in the middle of the room. Even if everybody stops what they're doing and stares at you, you are to continue your apology to the very end. Also, your husband didn't have anything to do with your rudeness to me, so he doesn't need to apologize to me at all. Just you. Well, are those terms acceptable?
In the middle of the room? Oh, does it have to be there? Oh, can't we do it in the lobby or a side room?
No. You are going to apologize to me for everything you did in front of everyone. Something to the tune of, please forgive me for mocking you for being a high school dropout and kicking you out of the building. Feel free to elaborate as much as you like, though.
Isn't there any other way you'll forgive me? If I do that, it would be so embarrassing for my son.
Oh, you don't have to worry about him. He was the one who made that suggestion.
What?
I just got off the phone with him a few minutes ago. He apologized on your behalf and proposed forcing you to make a public apology. He said that you needed to be taught a lesson you won't soon forget.
Why would he do that to me?
I hear that you've been exceedingly intrusive into his romantic life. How many of his girlfriends have you driven away because you thought they weren't good enough for him? He didn't tell me, and I didn't ask, but it was apparently enough for him to hold a grudge against you. He knows that having his mother prostrate herself before a woman half her age in the middle of his wedding is going to be embarrassing. He's prepared to deal with that, though. That's how much he wants to punish you. I may not have known you as long as he has, but even I can tell that is the most effective form of punishment for you. Public humiliation.
My son has a grudge against me? That's impossible.
It's not only possible, it's the only logical outcome of your level of interference into your son's life. If I were you, I would take the L and do what he says before things get any worse for you.
Oh, this can't be. Everything I've ever done has been to protect my family. As the matriarch, it's my duty to prevent damage to the family's reputation.
You were looking for faults in your son's friends and romantic partners, when all this time you should have been looking in the mirror. The only one damaging your family's reputation is you. As soon as I walked back into the reception hall, the self-described matriarch of the family immediately started into her well-scripted apology. Her face was beet red, and her husband was doing his best not to look at her. I put on the performance of a lifetime too, when I oh so graciously accepted her apology. The room went silent for a moment, and then everyone gradually went back to business as usual. However, by the time Rose was doing the bouquet toss on her way out the door, her mother-in-law was nowhere to be found. A few days later, her husband came over to my company in order to apologize to me. Imagine my shock when he broke the news to me that he had decided to divorce her. It wasn't as much of a shock to the rest of the family, though. Apparently, this wasn't the first time she had embarrassed them in such a public fashion. I suppose that's why the wedding got back on track so quickly after her apology. They were used to this sort of thing. Their patience had reached its limits, though, and they weren't going to put up with their nonsense any longer. I told both Rose's husband and father-in-law the same thing when they delivered their own apologies to me for the wedding. I didn't blame them for anything. Everything she did was 100% on her and nobody else. With that problematic woman out of the picture, both of our families are getting along swimmingly. I asked Rose's husband what happened with his mother after the divorce, and he told me he doesn't know and doesn't care. All he cares about is that the stain on his family's reputation has been removed. I guess it just goes to show you, it's true what they say. If you're having trouble finding the black sheep of the family, it's probably you.